Hello friends, and welcome to today's episode. When a worried mother checks the security cameras at a gas station and sees her missing son get into the car of a stranger, she is frightened. Will she find her child in time, or will it be too late? Rachel's heart shook, just as it had done before. Why wouldn't it? She always cared so much about Zach. He was the first thing she thought about when she woke up, and she couldn't stop thinking about him all day. Zach was a youngster and could take care of himself just fine. Rachel couldn't leave him alone, though. If he wasn't near her, she would start to sweat and her heart would beat faster until she saw his face. Zach, on the other hand, was tired of his overprotective, worried mother who wouldn't let him go out with his friends, go to the spa, go on a date, or meet her friends. Zach loved her, but he was also a growing boy with his own interests and hobbies, which Rachel didn't understand. She showed her love for Zach by setting the table for breakfast every morning, but Zach really wanted her to stop. Now that he was a big boy, he didn't like the pancakes, cereal, and orange juice that Rachel made for him anymore. "Mom," he tried to tell her one Sunday, "it happened. You know, we could just stop doing this." "Why should Zach stop?" "What do you mean? You make me so much food every morning, and this is the whole thing. In fact, I've been wanting to give up gluten for a long time." "Oh," Rachel said. "I guess I'll get some cookbooks and learn some gluten-free recipes for you then. How do you feel?" Zach's shoulders were hunched. He said, "No, Mom, no," as he moved his fur around. "I just don't want you to always be around and bother me. I can take care of myself well." He turned his head and saw that Rachel was crying. "Mom, why don't you go out and live? Does it have to do with me? I feel like I've been holding you back." "No, honey, you're not." Rachel quickly turned away from him and started cutting her pancake. "I'm here to back you up, Zach. I'd like to help you in ways that your father didn't." That's how Rachel felt after her marriage fell apart. The sudden way Zach's dad left them made her feel like she had to do everything for Zach. So she took him to all the basketball games and even to the movies and sports. Rachel was a good mom, but she didn't seem to realize that her teenage son needed limits. Her constant care for Zach and "I have to be there for Zach" attitude made her an overbearing mother, which she didn't seem to realize. Zach wanted Rachel to find someone who would make her happy. He wanted her to find a guy who would love her, treat her with respect, and help her start living a happy life again. Zach had seen how upset Rachel was when Zach's dad left them. She never cried or begged him to stay, but when he left, it was like a part of her was gone. She had never really been happy again, and all she did now was survive life instead of living it. Zach, as a kid, thought that should be different. When he walked out of school one day and saw his mother talking to his teacher, Mr. Patel, he was full of hope. He was an Indian man who stood 6 feet tall and had brown eyes and a heart that wanted Rachel. So, how did it go? On the way home, Zach asked Rachel, "What exactly do you mean?" "Mom, you don't have to put on a show for me. I could hear you talking with Mr. Patel, and he asked you to go out with him." Rachel said, "Well, I told you no, Zach," as she parked the car in front of the grocery shop. "Please stay in the car. I'm going to get some food and we'll be right back." "Do you want me to bring you something?" "Mom, you can't really mean that." "What? How could you say no to him? He is the most attractive teacher at school." "I mean, Mom, so many of the girls who teach are crazy about him. And he asked you out, and you turned him down." Rachel groaned. "Look, honey," she told him, "even though you're a youngster, you still don't know how the world works, okay? He might be your favorite teacher or something, but he's not the right person, all right? I don't want a relationship right now, either. You just have to wait here, and I'll be right back." "Not quite the right guy," Zach mumbled in a mad tone. "Mom, no one is ever right for you. There must be something wrong with you." Zach was unhappy. How could he tell his mother that she was wrong and that Mr. Patel was right? He was nice and sweet, and he really wanted to go out with Rachel. Wasn't she too careless with him? She didn't seem to care about him. A few days later, during breakfast, Zach told Rachel that he wanted to take her on an adventure in the desert. He had been making plans for a while, and now that summer break was here, he was ready to go on that trip with his mom. Rachel didn't want to go, but Zach talked her into getting them tickets. A week later, they were on a bus to the desert. Rachel forgot about her problems as she looked out the bus window. It was the first time in a while that she was away from her busy life and its stress. As the wind gently blew through her hair, she couldn't help but smile. When you lived in the present and didn't think about the past or the future, life seemed so different. Rachel closed her eyes and put her head on the window, letting the fresh air caress her face. The desert was 5 hours from their city. Zach was so happy to take her to the hot air balloon show she had always wanted to see. Rachel's house and office were full of pictures of hot air balloons. She loved reading about Montgolfier hot air balloons so much that she bought a whole library of books about them. "Mom, we're on our way there. I'm so excited." Zach said something excitedly, but Rachel could barely hear him. She fell asleep with her eyes closed and her mind at ease. When she woke up, she heard the voice of the bus driver telling her they were almost there. But when Rachel rubbed her eyes and got her bag from under her seat, she saw that Zach wasn't there. Even his trunk was lost. Rachel's heart started to shake. "Zach! Zach! How dare you? Who is it?" Rachel jumped to her feet, scared, and looked through the bus seats for her son, but she couldn't find him anywhere. She also looked out the window, but didn't see him. Rachel took out her phone and tried to call him, but Zach's phone was off. Excuse me." She was crying as she ran to the driver with a picture of Zach on her phone. "Have you seen this young boy? He is my son, and he came with me on the bus. We got on the plane together, and oh, I did see him. Yes, I did. The bus dropped this young man off near a gas stop," the driver said, "at the last stop." When the man said yes, Rachel's heart dropped. "Please, sir, can you take me back there? I don't think I'll be able to get a ride out here again, and I'm scared about my son. I don't know why he stopped at a strange gas station, and I don't know what to do about it." "What?" yelled out a passenger. "Ask her to ride the bus. We're not going back all the way. It is 45 minutes away." People on the bus started to complain and make threats that if the driver took them back to the gas station, they would get off and sue him. But Rachel's kind bus driver defended her. He snarled, "You guys don't have a heart, do you? This mother is sick with worry about her son. For the sake of mankind, the least you could do is be patient with her. Now I'm going to turn this bus around, and you can get off if you don't want to be here." He then held the bus gate open for them and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, help yourselves." Rachel could hardly keep her tears from falling. "You take a seat, ma'am," he said. "Don't worry, you'll find your son." Rachel said, "Thank you," in a whisper as she went back to her place. But until she saw Zach, she couldn't find peace in her heart. What happened to her son? Why did he stop at a gas station and get out of the car without waking her up? She thought that it was all her fault. If she hadn't fallen asleep, Zach would have been with her, and they would have enjoyed the trip together. Instead, she's crying now, wondering if she'll find her son safe and living. Rachel got to the gas station after a 45-minute drive that seemed like forever. It had already started to get darker. Even though the area was quiet and creepy, the gas station was lit up with overhead lights and showed signs of people being there. Rachel was taking a look around the gas station when she heard a voice behind her. It asked, "What's going on here, lady?" Rachel looked back and saw a big man with tattoos on his left arm standing behind her. He blinked as he looked at Rachel, who looked weak. "Hi, my name is Greg, and I work here as the attendant. Why are you sneaking around?" "No, Greg, I'm not. I'm just..." Rachel took out her phone and showed him a picture of Zach that was on it. "Are there security cams in this area? Could you check them? My son has disappeared. I have to track him down. The last time he was seen, he was at the bus stop next to your gas station." Greg stared hard at Zach's picture. He asked, "Is that your son?" "Yes, he does. That boy in front." Clicking the picture. "And I'm Rachel." Greg nodded. "All right, well, if he had come down here, the cams would have caught him. Come along." Greg took her to a dirty room with monitors and loosely connected wires. He typed something into one of the computer's keyboards, which turned on the camera video. Rachel asked Greg to stop the footage when it started showing what happened at 4:30 p.m. Rachel thought she would fall down. She finally found her son, but the video didn't show the license plate of the car. How could she track it down now? She could only see that it was a shiny gray car and that Zach got in it like it was their car. Rachel started crying and was about to call 911 when Greg, who was eating a lunch in his creaking chair, said, "Wait, I know that one." I think that car belongs to Mr. Baxter. What? Rachel asked, crying. A kind man. The main road is 20 minutes away from his shop. He lets people rent his cars. You won't be able to find an Uber or cab at this hour, so I could give you a ride. Rachel didn't know who Mr. Baxter was, and she didn't know why her son would get into a stranger's car after stopping at a gas station. But at this point, she had no choice but to meet Mr. Baxter. So, Greg drove her to Mr. Baxter's garage and parked right outside. It was the car Rachel had seen in the video. It looked the same, at least. Rachel was surprised to see Zach inside when she looked through the window and the tinted glass rolled down. He got down and said, "Hey, Mom, then you're exactly on time." "Zach," she yelled in a mad voice. "What the heck is that? What are you doing right now? Do you have any idea how scared I was?" "Mom, relax. You'll find out. I'm really sorry, but please give me a little more time. I did tell the bus driver and Greg to help you out a little bit. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, Mom." Zach put a blindfold on her, then led her to the car and started it up. "Zach, where do you want to go? What are you doing exactly?" Rachel said it. "I was sick with worry over you." Zach laughed. "Sorry. Mom, in just a few more minutes, you'll know." Zach helped Rachel get out of the car when it finally stopped, and he told her not to take off the covering until he told her to. Rachel could hear people talking and feel the cool breeze of the evening. When she finally opened her eyes, she was so shocked that her hand went straight to her mouth. "Oh my God," she exclaimed as she looked at the huge hot air balloon in front of her and Mr. Patel smiling next to it. "Mom, he made plans for us to watch the sunset. We can ride in the rocket. From here, the sunset looks the most beautiful. After I told him you liked hot air balloons, he thought of this treat for you." Rachel looked at the sun, then at the love in Mr. Patel's eyes, and at how her son and his teacher were now the men trying to make her life happy and manageable. She wanted to tell them off for making her feel scared, and she would. Just not at that beautiful time when the sky was changing colors. Rachel and Mr. Patel still laugh sometimes when they talk about that night, even though it's been 3 years. If Zach and Mr. Patel hadn't come up with that stupid plan together, Rachel wouldn't have met her Mr. Right in Herson's teacher. That's it for today, friends. Please let us know what you think about this story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon for more amazing stories.